Hi children, in this session we are going to see about the vapor pressure of a liquid solution. So here we are considering the two liquids are completely miscible with each other. So before going to see about the liquid mixture, first we will see what is mean by vapor pressure. Let's consider we are having half a beaker of water. So here in the beaker we are filled water into one half and it is completely closed. So when a liquid is present in a closed container, the liquid phase and the vapor phase, gaseous phase or the vapor phase of a liquid will exist in a equilibrium. So children, you can able to see this in many times. So if you are taken a water bottle, so in that water bottle, if you are having only half amount of water in it, and after a few hours or few minutes, you can able to see water droplets are formed on the sides of the bottle. Is it so? How this is happening means the liquid, the solvent which we are taken here is water. So water here, water molecules are, which is present on the surface, it just get vaporized and it is moving here and there. So some of the water molecules are exist in a liquid state and some water molecules are exist in the gaseous state. And here the gaseous water molecule which is moving, so it will hit on each other or otherwise it will hit on the surface of the container and it will bounce back. Later it will undergoes condensation. Once again it will converted into the liquid state again. Anyway, in a closed container, the liquid phase and the gaseous phase of a solvent will always exist in an equilibrium at a particular temperature. So the vapors formed here, so that vapors created a pressure on the walls of the container. So that pressure is called vapor pressure. Let's see another example. So here we just taken another beaker. Here two liquids are mixed together. So the black dot which you can able to see here. So these are water molecules, and the blue dot which you can see, that is an alcohol. So here we are having the mixture of alcohol and water. So now you can able to see here even the water molecules which is present on the surface just get evaporated and it exists in the vapor phase. And once again this water vapor come back and touches the surface and it will again converted into liquid, and again some water vapor molecules will get vaporized. So this will takes place continuously. That's what we said, they are existing. The liquid phase and the gas vapor phase solvents are exist in a equilibrium. Always they are existing equilibrium between these two. Like here even the alcohol molecules which present on the surface is also get vaporized. And we know one thing, alcohols are highly volatile than water. So you can able to see in both, just compare the two pictures. So you may guess where the vapor pressure will be high, either in the first or in the second. Yes, definitely in the second case, because when you are comparing both the cases here, the alcohol vapors are present in more amount compared to water molecule, because they are high volatile liquids. So it will vaporizes very easily. So the vapor pressure of alcohol is high compared to water molecule. So this is called as the vapor pressure. This vapor pressure will depend on the two factors. So the first one is nature of the liquid. Now just we discussed two different liquids, water and alcohol. So if you are taken pure alcohol in another beaker, so here also the alcohol molecule will exist in vapor phase as well as in liquid phase. But you can compare the vapor pressure of both the solvents, that is water and alcohol. Here alcohol's vapor pressure will be high when compared to water, because intermolecular force of attraction between the alcohols are weak when compared to water. So water molecule have a strong intermolecular force of attraction because of its hydrogen bonding. Okay, when compared to alcohol, hydrogen bonding is less. Okay, and here the attractive force is weak when compared to the water molecule. So based on the nature of the liquid which we are taken, the vapor pressure will be varies, and the temperature. We know if we are increasing the temperature, the liquids will move fast, it will gain the energy and it will convert it into vapor phase. So if we are increases the temperature, then what will happen? More molecules will get vaporized and the vapor pressure will be increased. So the vapor pressure is depend on the two factors. One is the nature of the liquid and another one is in temperature. So now we will see the Raoult's law. So Raoult's law for a solution of a volatile liquid, the partial vapor pressure of each component in the solution is directly proportional to its mole fraction. So we are just imagine this, children, we are having a closed container. In this container we are having two components, so A and B. Okay, it's a mixture. So this is called as solution. Solution is nothing but solute plus solvent, you know very well. So the solute may be a solid solute or may be a liquid solute. But it will be completely miscible with each other, then it is called as solution. So if you are considering this as a binary solution, then the volatile liquids, binary solution of a volatile liquid, that may be a solute or a solvent. Okay, volatile liquid, the partial pressure of each component, either A or B. And we already said here we are seeing about the liquid-liquid mixture. Okay, so partial pressure of any one component, either A or B, will be directly proportional to its mole fraction. So this is called as Raoult's law. This we can simply write like P1, that is a component 1. I just said no, two component 1 and 2A and B. So you just think of it 1 and 2. Two components is here. So partial pressure of one component will be directly proportional to the partial pressure of its mole fraction. Okay, so like in the same way, a partial pressure of another component 2 will be directly proportional to the mole fraction of that particular component. So to remove this proportionality symbol, here we are including the term P1 naught. So P1 naught is nothing but the partial pressure of the pure component 1. Okay, and in this case, to remove the proportionality symbol, we are adding the term P2 naught. So P2 naught is nothing but the partial pressure of the pure component 2. Okay, so this equation will be derived from the graph. Let's see that. First understand the vapor pressure diagram of this mixture, children, then we will move on to the Raoult's law again. So here this direction will shows the mole fraction of the two component 1 and 2. So we are having a mixture. So in this mixture we are having two components. It's a binary solution. So both are liquid. So that is named as 1 and 2. The two liquids are named as 1 and 2. And here, and this direction will shows the vapor pressure, where either it is increases or decreases. Okay. Okay. Now, in this particular point, the mole fraction of the component 1 will be 100%. Okay, you just imagine like this, the mole fraction, so that we written as x1 is equal to 1. So mole fraction of the component 1 is 100%, and component 2 is 0%. It is nothing is there, 0%. Okay, and in this particular point, the mole fraction of component 1 is 0%, and component 2 will be 100%. So now we will see the vapor pressure of these components individually. So here purely only one component 1 alone is here. So the vapor pressure is completely pressure of the component 1. Okay, so like in the same way here in this case children, here component 1 is not present, that is it is 0%, and the component 2 is 100%. So at this particular point we will get the partial pressure, no? So this pressure will shows the vapor pressure of the pure component 2. Okay, so now just we will see one by one. So first I'm just taken the component 1, you just imagining here. So component 1 here and component 2 is here. Here component 1 100%, here component 2 100%. They are having some particular vapor pressure. Okay, now what I'm going to do means I'm going to mix the two components. Okay, I'm going to mix the two components. So what will happen, the mole fraction of component 1 here 1, no, this value is slowly decreases. Okay, so the mole fraction 1 value will be slowly decreases, it will reduce to 0.5 and finally 0. Okay, 0.99, 0.86, 76 and 0.5, and finally this will be 0. So the mole fraction is decreases. So what happen? Definitely the partial pressure also will decreases. So the partial pressure of the component 1 will be decreases, and finally it will leads to 0. So this line shows the partial pressure of component 1. Okay, now we will see the next case. Here in this particular point the component 1 is 0. So the component 2 is 100%. Now I am going to mix component 1 into this. So what will happen, the mole fraction of this particular component 2 is started decreases slowly. So the partial pressure also it will decreases slowly. So here you can able to see children, the partial pressure of the component 2 is decreases, and finally it will reaches the 0 when the mole fraction will be 0. Okay, so this line P2, this will shows the partial pressure of component 2. So from this diagram Rawls derived this equation, these two equations. So partial pressure is directly proportional to its mole fraction. Okay, so now we get the two different values P1 and P2. So this is shown in the graph like here P1. So this line is P1 and P2. It is shown in the graph here. So here the partial pressure is directly proportional to its mole fraction. If the mole fraction is more, then the pressure will be high. If the mole fraction will be decreases, then the pressure also decreases. Okay. Okay. Now here you can get two different partial pressure P1 and P2. So according to Dalton's partial pressure equation, P total will be nothing but the total pressure of all the components in the solution. So here we are chosen only the binary solution. It means we have only two components. So now we are going to add the partial pressure of both the components P1 and P2. So we are connecting the two pressures. So this is nothing but the total pressure of the solution. Okay. So mathematically we can express this as P total is equal to P1 plus P2. Okay. And now we know P1 is nothing but the partial pressure of pure component 1 and the product of its mole fraction. Okay. So like in the same way P2 is equal to P2 naught into X2. When we are speaking about the term mole fraction X1 and X2 in a binary solution, we well know this. X1 and X1 plus X2 is equal to 1. So its total will be 1 molal. Okay. So we can consider X1 is equal to 1 minus X2. So now substitute this x1 value in this equation. We will get P1 naught into 1 minus x2 plus P2 naught into x2. Okay. Now next elaborate this equation. I will get the equation like P1 naught minus P1 naught into x2 plus P2 naught x2. Okay. So now I am just taken out the common terms x2 from both these terms. I will get a P total is equal to P1 naught plus P2 naught minus P1 naught into mole fraction of the component 2. So from this equation we can come to a conclusion, 3 different conclusions, children. Let's see that 3 conclusions. So the first conclusion is the total vapor pressure over a solution can be related to mole fraction of any one component of this of the mixture. Okay, so that we know the total pressure will be depend on the mole fraction of the any one of the component. And the second one is total vapor pressure linearly increases with the mole fraction of the component 2. So according to this final equation, so the total pressure will be directly proportional to the mole fraction of the component 2. Okay, and the third conclusion is depend on the P1 naught and P2 naught, total vapor pressure over the solution whether increases or decreases with the increase of the mole fraction of the component 1. So here in this diagram you can see, children, we have a different P2 value and the P1 value. So based on this P1 and the P2 value, the total pressure will be varies. Definitely no. See, because if the P2 will be increases or the P1 will be decreases, then the total pressure will be different. So like in the same way, based on this partial pressure P1 and P2 as well as with the mole fraction of the component, the total pressure of the solution will be vary. So these are the conclusions of the Raoult's law. I hope you all understand this, and then the ideal and the non-ideal solution we will see in the next session. Thank you, children.